this is Marianne from the RockingRvAdventures. Got a good video for you today. How to save money on the road as an RVer. So let's get into today's video. I'm going to look at my notes because I don't want to miss any points, so just bear with me. So today I want to offer some simple steps we have found to reduce our cost while being on the road. Learn to ask. My husband would probably develop a skin rash if we ever used a coupon or inquired about a discount. Fortunately for us, I'm not shy. Nope, I'm definitely an extrovert. There are a lot of opportunities to simply ask if they offer any programs of discount, such as military, law enforcement, first responders. I'm an RV veteran. No offense to other branches, we're all on the same team. So I always ask, do you offer a military discount? Discounts on products and services are often extended to active duty, former and retired military personnel as well as law enforcement and firefighters and those they wish to express their thanks to who have served our country and communities. We had to take Trini to the vet and she had to have surgery the other day, probably about 2 weeks ago or so. And they gave me a military discount, which was fabulous. Saved me several $100s. So it doesn't hurt to ask. The worst thing they can do is say no. There's also other places that you can get discounts, such as Good Sam, Escapees, KOA Campers, to name a few, whose membership plans have saved us several $100s over the past 5 years. I make it a point when I'm asking about the reservation process, what discounts are offered. Just so you never know. It's better to have it. So often the staff member is preoccupied or distracted and they've got an office full of people, and so they don't always ask. So it never fails that when I ask, they offer several different discount options, which we may qualify for. Another way that we save money on the road is we extend our visits. If you stay for a week in one place, you might as well stay for a month because it just pencils much better. You get monthly discounts, which helps a lot. After all, that might be a nice place to visit and lots of things to see in the small towns or the towns or wherever you're at. And that was Sam jumping off the chair. So I'm going to leave the bloopers in because it's just life. You guys know I travel with a pack, me and hubby and the 3 fur babies. So you're going to hear dog noises. So we always stay, when we go to San Antonio, we stay at Mission City RV Park and we stay for a month. Our son lives there. He's an Army doctor. So we do stay for a month there and lots to see and do. And so it's just a great park and we enjoy staying there. So we stay for a month. After fuel, perhaps the greatest single traveling expense is the cost of your RV site. Although campgrounds are fundamentally the same in the services they provide, not all campgrounds are created equal. To paraphrase a well-known insurance tagline, only pay for what you need. If you don't need to or want to use the water slide and it's more geared for families and kids and your adults, you may not want to stay there because you're going to pay for more for those attractions. Whenever possible, make your travel reservations as far in advance as possible. You can always, if you have to, cancel or change as long as you give them enough notice on their cancellation policy. That way you won't be stranded without a place to stay. You won't be locked into the last site. You'll have your reservations. If you're not interested in staying in the destination, avoid staying at destination campgrounds, such as campgrounds near amusement parks, public attractions, famous scenic locations come with a higher price tag. It is cheaper to stay a little bit farther out. So the campgrounds, you might have to drive a little bit, but it'd be a whole bunch cheaper. Consider the road less traveled. Often as RVers, we tend to stick to the interstates and seek out the large, well-appointed RV parks with amenities and easy on and off access, especially the yellow ones with a consistent sense of familiarity. So we've often found some really neat places to stay off the beaten track when we're traveling, get off the highways and get on some blue highways. Opportunities to get out of your comfort zone, save a little money in the process. Often these mom and pop RV parks are the best kept secret of the locals in the area. They aren't fancy by any means, but they are generally very clean and well maintained. And after all, there's water, sewer, and electric, and sometimes, even if there isn't, what else do you really need? It may not always represent an enormous savings, but it adds up. For us, we stay here at a campground in upstate New York for the summer because it's by my hometown. Not super fancy, but just awesome. I'll be doing a campground review of Lake Lauderdale Campground. We've been here for 5 years. We come every summer, and it's home for me. I grew up in upstate New York and joined the Army and ended up in California. So we've been full-time for 6 years now, and so we've learned a lot over the 6 years. But this place isn't fancy, but it's a nice, homey place. We don't have a swimming pool, but it's in the country, and the people are like family here. And we have potlucks and get-togethers and bingo. We go to bingo on Monday nights at the American Legion. It's just a great place to stay. So boondocking and camping off-grid is something that we've embraced this past year. And we ventured out with some friends in Arizona at Quartzsite. Didn't know if I'd like it, but it turned out I absolutely loved it. This was a major departure for us, but we both fell in love with the peace and silence of the desert miles from town. We were especially fortunate to share the experience with our friends who are veteran boondockers, and we were able to direct us to everything we needed to know and we would need. So we purchased a pass and we stayed out in Quartzsite and just absolutely loved it. So that saves you money. Mooch docking. Mooch docking is okay. We've done that a few times at friends' house, but you don't want to overstay your welcome. You may not have hookups, so you just want to be aware that don't overstay your welcome. But mooch docking, staying at a friend's house, is nice if you want to visit for a few days. There's another saying, pay now, not later. There's a saying that a cowboy always feeds his horse first. Delayed maintenance is never the right decision. So when reviewing your household budget, never cut corners or pinch pennies when it comes to the maintenance of your RV or your tow vehicle. We have 3 service establishments across the country that we trust with our truck maintenance. When hubby takes our truck in, he provides them with a detailed list of all the pending service items. He has our oil and our transmission sampled and tested, and that is by Blackstone Laboratories, and he sends it into them with a check, I think, for $25, and it tells us how well the engine and transmission is doing. He makes it a point to have the technician carefully examine the truck for any signs of unusual wear or defect. If anything appears potentially problematic, he has it repaired or replaced immediately. Breakdowns are always a hassle at times, and they can prove dangerous. From all our experience, they likely prove more expensive when they turn out as an emergency. So lay in some extra supplies of things you know you want with you when you travel. So you need to stock up too. So we always, when we're traveling, we have plenty of stuff on hand, food and whatever, paper products. And we buy it in bulk to save a little bit of money and put it in the closet or under the bed for storage, and we can use it later on. Because if you're out and about, some places are pretty expensive to buy groceries or paper products or whatever. Carry an extra. Over the years, we've learned the value of having it extra. Everything from zip ties to water filters. It always helps to throw in a spare. Better to have it and not need it, and need it and not have it. That's what my hubby always says. The day will come, and it's always inconvenience when it does, and the weather could be less than ideal, that something breaks, fails to work, or most maddening of all, mysteriously disappears. Yes, and 38 feet in this travel trailer, I can lose things. Hubby can lose things. I don't know who done it or where it went, but it went somewhere. So we've lost things that we haven't found, which is really odd because we're very organized. Normally the thing you lack is inexpensive at the big box or online, but might cost you several times more at the camp store. They have to have their markup, and I get it, but it's better to have it on hand if you need it. Assuming even if they have the widget that you need, you're going to pay a little more for it. It also provides peace of mind that we can fish around in the pass-through, come out with a roll of Teflon tape or a new connector for the stinky slinky. There's nothing better to be able to help your fellow RVers when you have the gizmo that they need. Of course, hubby always says, better to have it and not need it, and need it and not have it. So he keeps us well supplied on extra stuff that we need. Venture off the interstates. As I've mentioned before, fuel will almost certainly represent your greatest single expense. The truck stops and large commercial fuel stations, from our experience, will have the highest fuel costs. That makes sense due to their proximity to the highway when you pull in. Our truck has a 38-gallon tank, and then we've added an additional diesel tank which carries an additional 100 gallons. This provides us with greater range of flexibility because we don't have to stop and fuel up. We can pull off the road and fill up from our own tank. And then we also have a book that we carry with us called The Next Exit. And they do have an app for it as well. But the Next Exit book, I make notes. Since we travel back and forth across country, it shows all the campgrounds, fueling stations, food, everything off every exit on the interstates. So I take really good notes in my little Next Exit book. And so I mark when the campgrounds are good or the rest area was clean. And it's handy to have. So when we go across country, I know exactly what I'm looking for because we try and stop every hour and a half to 2 hours max to walk us and walk the fur babies. So if you get a chance, get the Next Exit book. It's been invaluable. The app's great on your phone, but you can't put notes in it. So that's why we use the book. I like to hold it in my hand. I like to be able to put notes. The app, you can't do that. And another thing that when we transitioned from our ranch, which we had a horse ranch in Southern California and an animal rescue called the RockingRvAdventures Ranch Animal and Tortoise Rescue, I had a hard time separating myself from my things that we had accumulated over the years. Don't get me wrong, we downsized enormously, but we still had a dozen of things, large and small, from furniture to mementos, none of which I could bear to part with. Hubby did that a whole bunch easier than I did, but I had family heirlooms and antiques that I didn't want to give up. So we rented a large storage unit, and it was packed from floor to ceiling. I think it was a 25 by like 15. It was big. And the cost of storing your stuff is not cheap. So every year when we got back to California, we would evaluate it. So the first year we downsized, we donated a lot of stuff because I figured by the time I replaced my bedroom furniture, when we ever get another sticks and bricks, I could buy new. So I donated all of the furniture to Salvation Army and kept the things that were important. So we downsized from the 25 by 15. I think the next one was a 15 by 10. The next year we went to a 10 by 10 and a 5 by 10, and now we are in a 5 by 5. I also found that the kids didn't want the antiques and the heirlooms that I cared so much about. So I'll pay the storage on our little 5 by 5 storage until we ever get a house, and then I'll go get the stuff that's important to me. But storage cost adds up. And it did take us about 2.5 years to sell all our horses, all our barns, our horse trailers, our tack, all of our equipment, and sell the ranch to downsize. It was quite the process, but it took us about 2.5 years to get ready to hit the road. So storage costs add up. Just save what's important. If you can get away with it, not having a storage and maybe have one of your children that you could store something there, great. We didn't have that option. So we do have our 5 by 5. So it's made life a lot easier. So that's some things that we do to save money on the road. And we don't eat out. Occasionally we do, but most of the time we cook food at home. So it's just cheaper to do that. So if you like our videos, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Hit the bell button so you get notified when we come out with a new video. And as always, leave it better than you found it. Make it a great day. And God bless, and we'll see you on the next video.